All right, thank you all very much. At this time, we will recall to order the meeting of the Suffern Central Board of Education for Tuesday, February 7th, 2023. Let the record reflect all board members are present with the exception of Dr. Nick Pond. Please rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, student report. Is there a student here?
So I can't really seem like a student, but I'm going to go ahead and touch upon Brendan's salient points, as he couldn't be here this evening because there's a boys basketball game going on right now.
Did he give you his notes?
He did.
Okay.
And ironically, his notes were very similar to what I was going to be covering as well. So thanks so much, Brendan.
All right.
So Brendan shares that today representatives from the Rockland County Board of Elections registered over 200 eligible students to vote. What a fantastic event, right? This is an annual event that takes place. Great job. Thank you to our partners at the Rockland County Board of Elections and to those 200 students and their teachers who made it happen. 400 applications. Fantastic. So hot off the presses from today, over 300. That is even better. Great to see our students being prepared to contribute to society by being able to vote in the upcoming elections. That's great. The Suffern High School Guidance Department will be hosting two college planning nights for parents and guardians engaged in grades 9 through 11 tomorrow, February 8th, and Monday, February 13th. Program starts at 6:30 p.m. in the high school auditorium. Parents can choose either one of those two programs, either tomorrow or Monday, the 13th. Starting at 6:30, there will be a curriculum overview where they will discuss elective choices and special programs and an introduction to school links. And then at 7 p.m., there will be a college planning panel with high school counselors who will discuss topics pertaining to college admissions and the application process. Parents, as I said, are able to attend either one of those two sessions, either tomorrow or Monday. The World Language Honor Society induction is this coming Thursday, February 9th at 6 p.m. in the high school cafeteria. Students are being inducted into the French, Spanish, and Italian honor societies. On Wednesday, February 22nd, we're proud to announce that from 2 to 8 p.m., there will be a blood drive at the high school sponsored by the Maddie Nickpom Together Foundation, as well as with the USO. They are encouraging anyone who is willing and able to please donate blood, and you can access the sign-up information on the high school website. That's Brendan's report. I'd like to share that last week we were really proud to welcome Dr. Molly Ness, an expert literacy specialist, to come in and meet with our administrative team, our teachers in the elementary schools during their extended day, and also meet with parents in the evening. She talked about the latest trends and research in the science of reading, particularly as it pertains to literacy. We were happy to have her here, and we look forward to having ongoing dialogue with her in the future. Our administrative team also had the pleasure of welcoming representatives from the Rockland County Pride Center here to this room to talk to us about the latest trends and issues and challenges that students in our LGBTQ plus population may be facing these days. They gave our administrative team some ideas, suggestions, and tools to help us support all of our students in our schools, but particularly those in the LGBTQ plus community. So we want to thank you very much for having them come meet with us. And thus concludes my superintendent's report for February 7th.
All right, that was like a combo there, the student report and the superintendent comments, all in one. So 1.08, the minutes of the regular meeting of January 17th, 2023. Do I have a motion? Mr. Donnelly, second.
Second.
Ms. Dickman. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? Any abstentions?
Yes. Abstain.
Mr. Shapiro abstains. Okay. So 1.09 we've already covered. 1.10, the preliminary budget presentation. I didn't know if you wanted to do an introduction. Otherwise, I guess we turn it over.
Sure, I'll do the introduction. I appreciate that. So Dr. Castellane and I have been working quite a bit throughout the course of the actually summer, fall, and now into the winter on putting together a real thoughtful budget for the Suffern Central School District for the 23-24 school year. This is by no means a complete presentation of the budget, but Dr. Castellane is here to share with us the process that has taken place up to date and some of the major points that we need to be considering as a board as we move forward in developing the budget in the coming weeks.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Tonight, I'll be sharing where we started this year, what we've been doing, and where we're going. The budget is one of those business functions that continues all year. As you can see, my team and I began discussing the budget from the time that I entered the office in September. We started off reviewing the fund balance reserves, started preliminary discussions on the district needs. We came up with budget development guidelines. We began on-site visitations to all the buildings. Most recently, in January and February, we met with the administrators, both in the building, central office, to really dive a little bit deeper into the needs for the students. As recently as last week, and I'll get into this a little bit later in my presentation, we received the governor's aid projections for the year, and they do look good. We reviewed building district level staffing needs. Moving forward, we'll continue to have budget presentations. We'll discuss the tax levy cap, the property tax report card, which will bring us into May for the budget hearing and the annual budget vote. Entering the business office, my team and I outlined 6 goals that we wanted to really focus on while we were building the budget. As you know, education changes over time, which means that the budget process should then evolve. This is going to be evident throughout my presentations over the course of this spring. The budget goals that we wanted to focus on were the most obvious: to ensure financial stability within the district. Thinking about Suffern and knowing all our programs and the great things that we have to offer, we want to protect the staffing to ensure programmatic and student needs are being met. We'd like to support the student and teacher learning opportunities through professional development. We want to provide a safe and supportive learning environment, and I'll get into that in my next slide. We'd also like to adjust budget lines to accurately reflect expenditures, and that's one of the things that I was talking about. As we look at the budget, things will continually evolve over time. And then finally, we want to stay within the tax cap levy. As many of you know, we appointed a director of security and special projects beginning July 1. With this, we feel that it'll streamline communication with collaboration with Ramapo and Suffern police departments. I'm still here. We'd like to have a security audit done. Through the continuation of next year's budget, we'd like the completion of the updated fire alarm and lockdown systems. And then one of the additional line items that we'd like to add is the security camera replacement. As you know, we have a great system, but we would like to make sure that maintains up to par. So we'd like to implement a 5-year replacement and addition of security cameras. With that said, this past year, the Suffern High School piloted the Milestone video management system. We found it to be very beneficial. We would like to then extend that to Suffern Middle School and the elementary schools through the budget. A little bit later in the presentations, not today's presentation, but through the presentation process, we're going to talk about some curricular initiatives. We're going to talk about Cybersecurity Academy at Suffern High School, along with the AP African American Studies. And for Suffern High School and Suffern Middle School, the expansion of our bilingual program. In Suffern Middle School, we're going to look to continue through year 2 of Leader in Me. And we would like to talk about the guaranteed 8th grade project-based learning experience that all the 8th graders will have. In the elementary schools, we're going to work on updated literacy curriculum. and professional development. Every year, we have to talk about facilities projects to make sure our facilities are up to date. These are several line items that we would like to put into the budget. We want to increase the student mobility at Suffern Middle School by looking at the elevators and making sure that they are continually maintained and upgraded. Paving, seal coating. Now, typically, I wouldn't put painting on a budget presentation, but this painting is a little bit more excessive than just simply a facelift in hallways and classrooms. We would like to look at the structural columns around Suffern High School. When you pull up, you'll see that the paint is starting to flake off, a couple of rust spots. We'd really like to work on giving Suffern High School a facelift and start with those structural columns. While I was at Suffern High School, one of the great programs that we have is forensic science. Now, with forensic science, when you walk into the classroom, it mirrors a traditional classroom. It doesn't mirror a forensic lab. One of the line items that we would like to put in is to redo the forensic classroom with new furniture that meets the students' needs. We'd also like to look at a wellness center in the guidance area of Suffern High School. So we would like to start that process through next year, furniture upgrades and restructure in that area. And lastly, we want to talk about placing a storage shed for our athletic equipment to make sure it's stored properly while those sporting teams are out of season. As everyone knows, salaries are the largest portion of everyone's budget. We have 4 known bargaining units. We know where they're going. We're very hopeful that we will have the remaining 3 bargaining units settled by the time that we are ready to adopt the budget. So again, this is all budget considerations. And while we build the budget, I just want to be transparent with everything. So budget development considerations continued. We have a 1-to-1 Chromebook/iPad at the lower grades. Over time, those initiatives have been supplemented through grants. Those grants are now running out. So now we need to look at how are we going to sustain the Chromebook initiative, the device initiative, 1-to-1. So working with the technology department, we're going to place a line in the budget in order to fully sustain that for years to come. So we don't have to, it's an ongoing process and we don't have to get hit with a large number all at once. Back in December, we approved a Xerox contract to our lease agreement with the Xerox machine runs up. So we're looking for new machines that will be coming in time for next school year. Increasing transportation costs. 2 of these items, basically unknown. So one of them is the electric buses and the New York State mandates. So obviously we have to build in some additional funds in order to make sure we are meeting those needs. And we also need to look at the increase in non-public school transportation. Currently, we are transporting to 93 schools, non-public schools. As you can see, beginning in 2020, all the way through 2023, we have had a significant increase in applications. So that is something that we want to make sure that we have in the budget in order to meet these needs. The items up here, I'd really like to just put on your radar. These are items that will range anywhere from an 8 to a 12% increase. And as new information comes out, as far as benefits increases, ERS, teacher retirement rate, as these come out, we will work to put those numbers in to make sure that the adoption of the budget is as accurate as possible. And then here's the really good slide, the best one if you ask me. So obviously the state aid, as you can see, we are definitely seeing an increase with the governor's proposal. The one item that I do want to point out, because it definitely jumped out at me, is the BOCES aid. And we see that the BOCES aid has decreased from 3.1 and change to 2.2 million. And the reason for this is that we actually spent less money at BOCE. So BOCE's aid is based off of money that we spend. Therefore, that's why we see that decrease. So while we are still receiving aid, I think it's important to understand where that number is coming from. But overall, our foundation aid and the rest of our aid continues to increase. So we're very happy for that. And then lastly, these are just a couple of budget development highlights that I'd like to present to everyone, just to kind of put it out there. Mainly our budget presentations that will occur. Obviously, we have the adoption of our final budget, the vote, the hearing, etc. So these were just some highlights that I felt I wanted to include tonight. Okay, and that concludes my presentation.
Thank you very much.
Does anybody have any questions? Excuse me, any questions for Dr. Castellane about this? I know it's, we're not looking at numbers yet, but it is important and really very informative presentation. So thank you, but it's great for everybody to see kind of the direction that we're looking to go and the things that, need to get taken care of. And I know we'll get more detail as we go on, but again, does anybody have any questions? Anything? No? All right. Well, thank you again. And then the budget workshop will be at the next board meeting in 2 weeks. All right. Excuse me. 1.11 public participation. This is public participation on action items only. If there's anybody who wishes to comment on our action items tonight, you can please approach the podium. Okay, seeing as there are none, we will close this portion of the meeting and move to our action items. So tonight we have action items 2.01 through 2.13. I would call for a consent agenda. Is there any action items that any board member wishes to pull from the consent agenda? No? Okay. All right. So 2.01 through 2.13. Do I have a motion? Mr. Frazier?
Second.
Second?
Donnelly.
Mr. Donnelly? All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? Any abstentions? Okay, great. Thank you. All right, 6.01 board member comments. Are there any board member comments at this time? Mr. Shapiro?
Tommy, should I follow you or should I go before you? Or... I doubt that. But, it was brought up that either 200 or between 200 and 300 students are now registered to vote, and it's only February. But let's start talking about getting people out to vote. It's so important. We have about 20,000 registered voters within the school district. Last year, we had about 6,200 people voting, which is, if you're good in math, it's not that great of a percentage. It's only 30%. What about the other 70%? Let's talk about that. If people want to, I don't want to say complain, but if people want to have an issue to complain about, then they should do it by voting. Or if people want to show their support of the district, they should do it by voting. In other words, go out and vote. And that's the whole key to any election. And of course, a school board election, of all the elections that we vote in, this is the one that directly affects us. So I'll start early. Like I usually start in maybe April, but why not during the month of February? So if you don't know where your polling place is, please find out. If you know of people who live in your neighborhood who may not be active voters, maybe start speaking to them now, and keep on speaking to them so that when the time comes to vote, they'll realize that it's on May 16th and the polls are open at 6 in the morning, and they close at 9. So that's 15 hours for them to find the time to vote. So let's just get out the vote. And 6,200 is great, but if we can get to 7,000, that's more than a third. And really, Suffern does a great job. Some of the bigger cities in Westchester get about 10 to 15% of their voting population out. So our 30 is pretty good, but really, for Suffern, 30 is stinky. So let's get out the vote. Did you get my message about getting out the vote? Okay, thank you.
And I'm sure it won't be the last message.
No, it won't. There'll be one every meeting.
Thank you. Any other board member comments?
I have 2 comments.
Ms. Hodge?
First on 2.05, I just wanted to say that it's the transportation routing study, that I'm really pleased to learn that we may be producing some better results for our non-public community relative to busing. I think that's super important. And on 2.08, I did vote yes tonight for the Six Flags trip for our 8th graders, primarily because it's really too late to produce any appropriate alternatives at this point. But my hope is that our administration and students and families work on some better options for next year.
Thank you. Any other comments? Nope. All right, I'm going to make one. Mrs. Shapiro does a great job of getting out the vote and making sure everybody knows where to vote, when to vote, register to vote. I'm going to take a different cause to talk up. The blood drive that Dr. Gunderson mentioned earlier. I am a huge proponent of giving blood. I give blood every opportunity that I can, and I would just ask anybody if they're comfortable with it. I know it's not easy for a lot of people. If you have the time, if you're capable of giving blood, please do so. It is so valuable to so many people. And can you just the date and the time for the blood drive?
Wednesday, February 22nd, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Suffern High School.
Thank you. So that's my message. If you're able, please donate blood. It's just so important. Thank you. All right, so we'll close board member comments then, and we'll go to our public participation for district-related business. So this is an opportunity to speak on district-related matters. Please approach the podium. Please try and keep your messages to 3 minutes or under, and please do not name, unless you're speaking on behalf of a building, please do not name any administrators, personnel, or students by name.
I can't say your name.
Oh no, board members, you're allowed. Yeah.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm here for Suffern High School and Suffern Middle School. So I'm going to echo Brendan's report by reiterating that Suffern High School, the World Language Society, is inducting new members of the French, Italian, and Spanish Honor Societies Thursday, the 9th at 6 p.m. We would love to have all of you come out, whether your child is inducted or not. But for you guys, the board members, we'd love to see you if you can swing by. It's really a great way to celebrate the kids' linguistic accomplishments. They work really hard, and be nice if we'd like to acknowledge that. So it's a great night. My Suffern Middle School Italian students, mainly the 7th grade, we just launched our PBL project, which I'm really, really excited about. My number finally came up. So we just launched it yesterday. The kids are really excited. I can't give away the secret yet, but at some point we will invite you guys to come on over and check it out. And then back to Suffern High School, the after-school program for the homework club. It's a great place for students to work collaboratively with peers and teachers. We have a steady influx of kids that come every day, and a lot of them leave with a sense of accomplishment. They feel like they either worked something out with a peer, or they just asked a teacher to come over and just, you know what, I'm not getting this. Can you just spend 5 minutes with me? And that's really all it takes. And they do a great job. They really come, and some days it's a packed house, and some days it's a little thinner, but they're all there. They come and they enjoy it. It's a great thing to have for us to have for them. The other great thing is I'm going to, again, you're stealing my lines, Matt. The USO teaming up with the Maddie Nippon Together Foundation for the blood drive. The kids are really excited about actually doing this. They're all about it, and it's not for everyone, but we need volunteers as well as donors. So we're hoping that a lot of the kids that are underage and can't help, can't donate. There's also parental involvement, but anyway, we need volunteers. So whether they're helping out as a volunteer or as a donor, it's a great thing. It's a great cause. And I know something that Maddie Nippon was all about. So I'm happy to help with them as well with that. So I just want to say thank you again to all of you board administrators for your continued support for all the programs that we have at Suffern Central that allow students to be the best versions of themselves. So thank you.
Thank you. There any other speakers? No? Okay. So we'll close this portion of the meeting and we'll go into our superintendent closing comments.
I have no further comments.
I had a feeling you'd say that,
Yeah.
but I didn't even mute my mic.
I didn't say something. Come up with something.
All right. So then we will be ready to adjourn our meeting then. Just a quick note, our next board meeting will be in 2 weeks, February 21st. 22nd, right, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's a Wednesday, yes.
Give blood, then come to the board.
Yeah. I mean, perfect combo, right? Right, yes, so our meeting is February 22nd. It's a Wednesday. There is no school on Monday and Tuesday that week for President's Day, which is why our meeting is not on Tuesday. With that being said, I'll make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a motion? Mr. Shapiro, second. Mrs. Hodge. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you all very much for coming tonight. Have a great couple of weeks, and we will see you on the 22nd.